Writers, it's time for tutorial number 1. We are going to log into Novelio, have a look around, see how it's structured and how it works. So when you log in, you can hit the ground running with your story files. Okay, so your screen will look like this. You're going to log in, and it will take you at first to an onboarding click-through. This area right here is where you will make your story files, and they will all appear there in order. And you can custom order them where you want them, and you can even group them into series if you'd like. This upper area is your header menu. This is where you can switch it between light mode and dark mode. You can report a bug, even little things like if you find a typo or something is just working weird and you're not quite sure if that's the way it's supposed to work or not, please tell us. We want to know your experience so then we can continually improve it. And most bugs we can fix within hours. It's pretty simple and easy, but hopefully by the time you're watching this video, hopefully we will have cleared out all the bugs. This is also where you can email us for help if you have a question. And then over here is your account settings. Sidebar menus up here is where you switch between the regular sidebar menu and then an AI chat for image generation. These first 3 items are your different home screens. And the first one is your main home screen. This is the one that most people are going to use all the time. This is your portfolio. So this is where you access all of your files. The 2 below it are grayed out because they're not quite ready for users yet. They're still in testing mode. The first one, workspaces, that's where you will go to collaborate with other writers on a shared file. And then templates is where you go to create your own templates. So we have character templates and plotting templates and world building templates in Novelio. But if you want to create your own, that's where you would do it. You start a story by clicking on this file that says new story, and now we're good to go. So that was the onboarding. When you start a story, you can upload an image right here. You can put in the title of your story. So if I was putting in, we're just going to use an example. So if we're doing a Harry Potter one, we also have middle grade in there. And then this is where, for now, you can just put a summary of what you think the story will be. When your story is complete or when you have a book blurb, this is where you would put the book blurb description. So now we are in the actual storyboard's main menu. And so down here, you access your character building portal, you access your world building portal, but if you're watching this video, the plotting one or any of the other ones might already be there. So keep an eye out for that. Now I'm going to jump over to a different account so you can see what your portfolio looks like when there's already some stories in there. So here's an account that I use. Let's take a look at the settings. And then there's backup, which you request a backup file be sent to your email. And this is all of your information in a code package. And so you can hang on to that. And then in the future, if you delete your account and then you want to come back to Novelio, you can take that coded package of information and upload it back into Novelio. Onboarding is the click-through tutorials for each portal or home screen, and you can turn them back on if you want to go through them again. And so this will just mark if you've completed them or haven't completed them yet. Notifications are how you choose to receive updates from us. So when we launch a new feature or a new portal or a new ability or something's going on with your account, or if your subscription is about to expire, or once we launch the collaborative workspaces, if you'd like to be notified about other users updating into that workspace, anything like that, you can access from here. You can change your password. You can update your account to the various types of accounts. You can go to billing, which shows your history of your subscription payments or any tokens that you have bought. And AI tokens is where you can buy additional credits to be used in the image generation chat menu. And then here we are back in our portfolio. You can change it to dark mode, which I prefer dark mode. It's just easier on my eyes to look through my information in that white font. You can also report a bug, tell us what happened, and you can include a URL of the page that you were at if you think that would be helpful. You can also upload screenshots to help us understand the issue a little bit. And right now, this is in default view. So when you go to view by, and we're in default, that just means the stories are all together in just rows of stories. And so you can group them alphabetically or the last time you updated that story file, or if you click on custom and unlock it, you can drag the stories around into a different order and then click the lock and they'll stay in place. If you view them by series, then it will group the stories into series. So this first row is all of my books in the Lady Mafia of Fort Lauderdale, all my books in the Candy and Heirs, and then here's all the extra books that are not in a story row yet. And I have Harry Potter in here as an example, so we'll look over that one. Now, one thing to note, all of these stories are going to have characters inside of them, different worlds you're creating, different plotting templates. Those items themselves, like a character profile, you can link to other stories in your series, so you don't have to create those character profiles over and over again. You can also duplicate entire books into another one and then just change the title and the cover and edit things inside of that if you would like. This edit button takes you to editing just the basic fundamental information for that story file. And you can also delete a story. And when you delete it, it is deleted from your home portfolio, but you can still access them by clicking on the trashed button. They're still like hidden there. If you want to permanently delete it, because sometimes these trashed files will still show up, like trashed character files might still show up as options throughout the app. And so if you want to permanently delete them, just make sure you delete it from here and then you click confirm and then it goes away forever. So inside the story file, you can access the character portal, the world building portal, and the plotting portal, and maybe some other portals will be opened by the time you watch this video. Let's look at the character profile. So this is your character portal and it's taking you through the onboard, yours will be blank, obviously. Here's, you click on this new primary character button or new secondary character, new minor character button. That's how you create a new character. Grouped characters, this is after you create some characters, you can create a group profile for those set of characters. So for Harry Potter, I could have a group of students. I could have a group of professors. I could have a group of bad guys and Death Eaters. Any character can be in multiple groups. And then over here is view by. So just how we had a view by menu for your portfolio, we have a view by menu for your character portal. And you can view them in different ways. We'll go over that later. You can sort them just like how you can sort your profile. Right now we are in the default view, which is primary characters on top, secondary characters in the middle, and minor characters below. Each character profile is a little bit different based off of what type of character it is. So primary characters have extensive character profiles and they get a little smaller as you go down. When you create a character profile, so if I were to create a minor character profile and fill it out, and later I decided, actually, I don't want this to be a minor character. I really like this character. Let's make them a secondary character or a primary character. You can definitely change the profile. Their character template will expand to include all the information for whatever type of character you're making. When we click on a character profile, it is extensive, but just hang on, just bear with me. I promise it's not going to be super overwhelming in the long run. So hang with me for a second here. So first we have the entire character profile. Each prompt has something called a tooltip. So if you hover over the title of that prompt, a pop-up will appear that kind of goes into more depth and give you ideas on what types of things you might put in there. All these blue buttons are for you to add your own prompts. So if there's something that we left out of this template or something that only pertains to your story that you want to add, go ahead and add it. And I'll show you how to do that in a second. And then here we have this relationships section. And this is actually really, really cool. This section I wouldn't do at the very beginning. I would first make all of your characters' files, have files for each character that you're using, and then come back into each character's profile and add the relationships. And I'll show you why in a second. Template, this is where you would go to change the template between a primary character, a secondary character, and a minor character. And a filter, this is really cool. When we first look at this profile, you're going to be like, Tara, that is way too much information. That is way too much information. It's overwhelming. I don't want to have to look through all of this every time I'm looking for a little detail in my character. And that's okay. You're right. Every character out there is going to have boxes on this template that does not apply to that character or is unneeded. And so after you've gone through all the questions and you've only filled out the ones that pertain to your particular character, then you come over here to filters and you click a checkbox that says hide unfilled. And then everything that you didn't need for that character that you left empty hides. So it's not cluttering up your screen and only the stuff you need is there. Here we have our Harry character profile. And right now all I have is his name and his photo, but you can go through, you can write a summary. You can write other names or titles that he has. For instance, you might put here, the boy who lived, but we're gonna, yay for grammar and typos. Type is, he is our protagonist. We're gonna write in his significant past, what his plot purpose is. This is important for making sure your characters are contributing to your story. So do they have a plot purpose? Do they have a goal? Do they have a character arc? How are they important to your story? So going through, there's so many prompts and not everything, again, applies to your character. However, we wanted to cover all of the details so that when you looked at your character profile, we could spur ideas. We could help you make this character more complex, more detailed, give you opportunities to add details that maybe you hadn't thought about adding before that you can use in your writing to make your characters real and relatable and detailed and distinctive and unique to your readers. Another section we have is personalities. And these have personality types in here. And you can scroll through, you can pick one. And once you pick the character profile, it will auto add it to your character profile list. So we have Myers-Briggs personalities. We have Enneagram personality types. And not that these are Harry's personalities, but we're just going through things, right? We can talk about their motivators. We can talk about their vulnerabilities and their wounds. We can add their love languages, their vulnerability shields. This is a really cool thing. It's actually from Brené Brown's self-help book called Daring Greatly. And in there, she talks about people's vulnerability shields. And that's really, really cool to go through and figure out how your character shields themselves or shields their vulnerabilities from the world around them. So you can click on different traits. You can add your own traits at the bottom. And when you add a trait or add any sort of text box, you just have to right click or two finger click on that and you can rename it. So we'll call him shy. And then you can add that text box. It goes through lots of different prompts. This questionnaire area is really, really cool because it helps you get deep down into their psyche and what is moving this character forward, what's holding them back, what is triggering for them, what aspects of their situation or personality or past or insecurities or whatever it is contribute to how they grow and develop throughout your story. a place for memories if you have flashbacks that you need to add, visions, and then down here is relationships. And again, when you first start creating, this relationship section should probably be ignored at first because it adds clickable, linkable tags of other characters into this section. And so you need to have those files available in order to link them in. For right now, I already have a bunch of character profiles, so I can add this in. We have mentors, right? We have Professor Dumbledore. He is a mentor. We have Ron, we have Hermione, and they are his best friends. We have a love interest, right? And as you build these relationships for your characters, it will come in handy as we drop new features into Novelio in the future. And then down here we have groups. And so after you've created group profiles, then here you can select which groups you'd like to add him to. So that is a character profile. And then after we've filled out all this information about his green eyes and his scar like a lightning bolt on his forehead, disheveled hair, then we can go through to our filter and we can hide empty. And now everything that wasn't filled out goes away, and only the stuff we actually cared about will appear in that character's profile. So here we are back in our character main menu, and this is being viewed by default. Well, let's change that view and let's view it into groups. So I have previously grouped characters. I have a group for students and I have a group for professors. So down here, I've got all my students. Down here, I've got all my professors. And then here's my ungrouped characters. And we can move characters into this. So like we can click on this and we can add this, we can add him here. Or if we go back to our group profile, here's our student profile, we can write the description for this group, any requirements to be in this group, if this is good, neutral, or bad, and then here's your list of people in the group. And so we want to add Draco. We can edit the tags and we'll call him, let's say for this is the student. So we're going to, what labels are we going to do? We're going to say he's a Gryffindor and he's alive. Or he's a student and the other ones are prefects or head boy, or however you want to use these descriptions. So here's our professor group, and I noticed I didn't put Hagrid on the professor group, so I can add him here. Also, you may want to add people to this group who don't have character profiles. This first button will pick from characters you already have. The second button will just add a list of other characters. So if this was my professor one, let's say I forgot other professors and I want to add Professor Quirrell and Professor Sprout, and so you can continue to add more people into this field. You can change the name of the field again by 2-finger clicking or right clicking. And so now we have a list of clickable characters and just listed characters that don't have profiles. If you're on a character profile and you want to quickly get to another character, you can always hover over the character list and scroll through and change to somebody else's profile. So let's talk about the navigation side menu. From here, you can get back to your main portfolio. You can click on one of these main items and get right to the character main menu or the world building main menu or the plotting main menu. You can resort your characters into one of the order types, including a custom order, and you can view them by default, which is type, or by group. And this whole side menu is accessed from this navigation button. This button takes you to an AI chat where you can put in a prompt to generate images to use in your profiles. Please see our frequently asked questions about under which circumstances you should be using AI photos and which circumstances you should not be using AI photos. So we're going to create a new story and we're going to call it Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. If you go back into your portfolio, we're going to manage our series and we're going to combine this story and this story into a series. And we're going to call it the Harry Potter series. Let's talk about duplicating characters across stories. Okay, so we have the second book of Harry Potter. But when I go to click on characters, now all of those Harry Potter characters that I created are no longer available. So what do? Well, I can go into the first one that has all my characters and I can click on the characters. And I'm going to now view them by default. And I can click these three little dots here and I have three options. I can link to, which means I can take this character and I can link it to any other stories in my portfolio. So I'm going to link him to Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. And what that does is that means this profile appears in both stories. And if I update one, it will update it into the other automatically. But if I would rather have, well, here's what his character profile is in book 1, but in the next book he grows a little bit or he changes and I want that profile to look differently. In that case, I would click copy to. And what that does is takes that character profile and it copies it into another story. And then when you update that other story, those updates stay separate from the original files. So you can have two story files that can be updated separately. The third option is to duplicate that story file, and that just means you're going to duplicate it in this same file. And so if I have two characters that are very, very similar, I can duplicate the file next to it, change the name and change the photo and update any little tweaks. And so now I don't have to start from scratch if they're so similar. So that's it for our initial tutorial of logging into Novelio. Good luck writing, good luck creating. Come back for more tutorials on character development and world building and plotting and all of the really fun things that you can do in Novelio.